Hi, welcome to the marketplace. Coming up this afternoon, World Bank approves the release of $250 million to support the 5-year Ghana Financial Stability Project. Meanwhile, Ghana is set to receive $103 million grant from the African Development Bank to support the economy. We'll share details. Also coming up, China emerges as main source of imports to Ghana, contributing 10.5 billion cedis to the economy, which accounts for 21.8% of total imports.
From the perspective of imports, it was more from Europe, and in recent times, since the second quarter of 2023, we've seen a turnaround of this, and now Asia is the lead in terms of imports.
Also coming up, Chief Executive of the Private Enterprise Federation reveals more firms are adopting strategies to reduce tax payments due to the challenging work environment and the rising cost of doing business.
Want to pay. They say, catch me if you can. But if you make it simplified enough, most people will do what we call automatic compliance. They will pay without even you chasing them.
My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for being with us. Details coming up. Well, thanks for staying with us, everyone. The World Bank has approved a $250 million International Development Association credit for a 5-year Ghana Financial Stability Project. The project will support Ghana's financial sector strengthening strategy by contributing to financial stability through the recapitalization of viable banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions impacted by Ghana's domestic debt action program. The financial system is critical to the functioning of the Ghanaian economy, providing critical services to households, firms, government, and supporting economic growth. To address the severe impact of the domestic debt exchange program on financial institutions, the government established the Ghana Financial Sector Stability Fund to provide solvency support to banks, pension funds, insurance companies, fund managers, and collective investment schemes. Meanwhile, Ghana is now set to get $103 million grant from the African Development Bank to support some sectors of the economy, as well as embark on some projects. A signing agreement to aid the release of the funds has been carried out in Nairobi, Kenya, on the sidelines of the African Development Bank annual meetings. Some of the areas that will benefit from the grant include small and medium-sized enterprises, agriculture, and skills development. The Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, signed on behalf of Ghana, whilst Jerusalem Fasika signed on behalf of the African Development Bank. In a related development, government has also signed a 5-year country strategy deal with the African Development Bank on areas and projects that the institution will be funding. Right, turning to other news this afternoon, government statistician Professor Samuel Kwabnenim has revealed that China has emerged as the main source of imports to Ghana, contributing 10.5 billion cedis, which accounts for 21.8% of total imports. The information was disclosed at the launch of the 2024 first quarter trade report in Accra.
The trade relationship between Ghana and the European Union remains robust as of 2023. However, there has been a notable increase in trade volume with Asia, particularly China. Chief Government Statistician Professor Samuel Enim attributes this shift to global economic uncertainties.
In the case of imports, we did only 9 billion Ghana cedis change between 2022 and 2023, whereas we did 19.3 billion Ghana cedis change between 2022 and 2023. About a 10.3 billion Ghana cedis difference between the rate of changes from an import perspective between 2022 and 2023. So we saw a much higher change for the imports that are coming from Asia to the tune of 19.3 billion Ghana cedis. this has led to a swap in terms of the continent that is leading from the perspective of imports. From the perspective of imports, it was more from Europe, and in recent times, since the second quarter of 2023, we've seen a turnaround of this, and now Asia is the lead in terms of imports.
Professor Samuel Inim explained that Ghana experienced increases in exports to Asia and Europe.
Realized that exports to Europe was 13.7 billion Ghana cedis, and that of Asia was 16.0 billion Ghana cedis in terms of changes between 2022 and 2023. Between 2022 and 2023, we had an increase in our exports to Europe going up by 13.7 billion Ghana cedis. Between 2022 and 2023, the same time period, our exports to Asia increased by 16 billion Ghana cedis. What this is telling us is that although our exports are going up, our exports to different continents are at different rates. And this is very important, especially because of different global crises that are happening at different parts of the world and how we take advantage of that.
He further warned policymakers to assess the risks associated with becoming an import-reliant nation.
The gap between the number of countries that we are exporting to, which is 159, and the number of countries that we are importing from, which is 214. And the whole argument is that if you are importing from a lot more countries, it points to the vulnerabilities that are associated with the number of countries that you are importing from, because you are relying on a lot more countries for different types of products. So all that it means that if any economic challenges affect, or any health challenges affect, or any political challenges affect either of these countries, the rippling effect is going to come through.
A new key player in Ghana's export destinations for 2023 is the United Arab Emirates, with gold comprising of 97.3% of the total export.
More businesses have now adopted strategies to lessen tax payments to the state. That's according to Chief Executive of the Private Enterprise Federation, Anawse Bonsu. Speaking on PM Express Business Edition, he noted that most enterprises cannot stand the multiplicity of taxes.
Let me touch just one, the income tax. The income tax is 25% of everybody that gets income. 25% on 2,000 is different from 25% on 2 million. So the private sector, the lower, the micro, small, and medium enterprises, which constitute the majority of the Ghanaian private sector, those are the ones that the income tax equitable treatment is affecting. Because if, as I said, 25 on 2,000 and 25% on 2 million, two different impacts. But then these taxes are there to pay. So the key point that we did, and we did the report, as I said, the analysis that followed the report on the survey, is that then the majority of the private sector said, okay, then I'm not going to pay. Catch me if you can.
Is that happening?
That is happening every which way.
Oh,
and then,
that, the difference between the compliance and the avoidance issue, that's what we are seeing right now. That a lot more businesses are now finding innovative means to reduce the tax burdens.
Yes, they wouldn't want to pay. They say, catch me if you can. But if you make it simplified enough, most people will do what we call automatic compliance. They will pay without even you chasing them, because you educate them to the point that they know they have a responsibility. And people go to business to make money for themselves first. They don't go to make money for the government. So if they have to choose between internally generated funding for themselves and responsibility to pay taxes, yes, they know they have obligations, but they got to eat first. So the obligations is to themselves first, and then God do us all.
But there's a moral argument here.
Oh, yes, there
about
is.
the fact that as a private business person, I'm using the lights, I'm using the water, I'm using the infrastructure.
They pay for the lights.
Because you think you're overburdened, you are finding legal means to reduce the tax burden.
You talk about tax, you talk about water, you talk about electricity and everything. They pay for infrastructure. They pay for everything. Roads, yes, they pay for it. They were told.
But these are the taxes that they use for them. So if you are finding more innovative means to lessen the tax burden.
So the point is, if you want more people to pay the taxes, lower the taxes, stagger the taxes, that if you make 2,200,000 cedis, you pay 1% or 2%. If you make 400, you pay equivalent, and then on and on and stagger to the point where you have the 25% at the pinnacle, at the top level.
While still on taxes, some private health practitioners are pushing for government to scrap taxes on medical equipment imported into the country. Sales lead for the Greater Accra region at Casona Global Limited, Gladys Tete, is asking government to aid local health investors to provide quality, affordable health care that is accessible to the population everywhere.
Expressed disappointment at the government for failing to address the excessive taxes charged at the port. Gladys Tete called on other sector players for more collaboration.
So there's some kind of tax exemptions, and duties are a bit lower, but still, if we are looking at health, everybody's health is affected. Nobody is exempted when it comes to health. And if we put measures in place as a country to help support both medical imaging equipment importers and the end users, we know that the price will come down a bit. And with that, more facilities will be able to afford these equipment easily, because we have come to understand that there's a lot of challenge when it comes to financing, and a lot of facilities need the equipment, but they are having challenges actually financing it. So if in terms of duties and all of that, it can come down, the total price of these equipments will drastically reduce, and it will ease up the pressure on the facilities that actually need them. Yeah.
These importers want more support from government to boost their operations.
We have some more news for you this afternoon. International Chartered Director and Industrial Engineer Professor Douglas Boateng is making a strong case for government to set up a fund for engineers to aid in Ghana's infrastructure development. Professor Boateng says there is the need to push for more industrialized economy and also address Ghana's procurement processes, the challenges with it. He was speaking at his inaugural lecture in partnership with the Ghana Institution of Engineering.
The Ghana Institution of Engineering, Professor Douglas Boateng Annual Lecture Series is said to be an annual platform to promote knowledge exchange and advancements in the fields of industrialization, engineering, and international trade in Ghana and the rest of the continent. Through engaging and insightful presentations, the lecture explored a symbiotic relationship between strategic sourcing strategies and advancement of industrial sectors, offering insight into how engineering innovation can catalyze sustainable development and regional integration across Africa.
We as a continent, as a collective, we are big. We have a lot of opportunity to be able to solve our own problems. I mentioned earlier, be an African, not an Africant. When you think Ghanaian, your market is 32 million people, of which at West, only about 10 million have disposable incomes. Think 1.4. As engineers, our market is the 1.4 billion people, not the 32. We should open our minds. We should stop the short-term thinking, because it's not going to help us. We should start talking to each other. It's very important as a collective that we can make a difference to each other. So what next? For me, it's about engineers. We are programmed to, obviously, make things happen.
Professor Boateng noted that the African Continental Free Trade Area long-term success was inextricably linked to engineering, sourcing practices, and industrialization.
We should allocate funding for the government, should allocate funding for engineers. It's very, very important, because that's the only way transformation can happen. We have to, obviously, change our purchasing habits. We need to look at buying locally, support our local people. We need to also, celebrate engineering. What the GHI has done with myself is to celebrate engineers, what we can do for society. And this is going to be a platform to encourage other engineers to also make a difference. Not that they are not making a difference. They are doing their bit in their own way, and we can encourage them to even do more. The current system has not worked. For me, and I'm going to repeat this, unless we create a Ministry of Industrialization, we are not going anywhere.
The event was under the theme Engineering, Industrialization, AFCFTA, and Strategic Sourcing, the inextricable links.
Government has reiterated its plan to improve the aquaculture industry. According to Deputy Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development Musa Abdulaziz Ayaba, government is working to increase the annual income from farmed fish from $186 million to $436 million by 2028 under the Ghana National Aquaculture Development Plan. He spoke at the Aquaculture Event 2024. You're watching The Marketplace. Short break, we'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. Time to bring you our show business segment. And regulation in the food and drug industry has been very stringent in Ghana. However, when this industry intertwines with public figures in the creative sectors, some issues come up against the backdrop of celebrities fighting the FDA over endorsements and other influencers being accused of selling unapproved products. What is the way forward? Culture journalist Kenneth Aochidako joins me on Zoom to discuss this developing trend on today's edition of Show Business. Kenneth, could you elaborate on the nature of the relationship between the FDA and public figures in Ghana? Unmute.
Can you hear me, Daryl?
I can hear you.
Right. So as we already know, the Food and Drugs Authority is in charge of regulating the food, drugs, cosmetics, and other kinds of products in the country. So they are in charge of verifying or making sure that they are safe for consumption by the public, as long as it has something to do with the health or the general health of the populace. Now, that's one side of their responsibility. And then there is the other side that talks about the accreditation of certain commercials or advertisements that have to do with these specific products. And so that is where usually there is some little tangle between them when it comes to the usage of some public figures or celebrities to, promote some of these products. So that is basically how they, link with the creative sector, basically.
So what has the relationship been like over time? Positive?
It has been quite a nice situation, especially when it comes to, for instance, alcohol, when it comes to, the promotion of some products that, for some reason may not be ready for the market as well. So for alcohol, for instance, you realize that some time back, I think about like 2015, there was a certain ban that was placed on celebrities, for instance, from advertising alcoholic beverages. The reason was that they were going to be influencing other younger people who may not be of age to participate in alcoholic consumption. And so that is one thing that, historically has been a bane when it comes to celebrities in the country, that they are still fighting. I think as of 2022, a group went to the courts to actually seek, the lifting of the ban, which is currently, in court and is still being litigated. So, and this is just one example of how the relationship has been between the FDA and the usage of notable personalities when it comes to promotion of some of these products.
Well, I remember recently there was news of a public figure, a celebrity, I think, who was arrested for promoting an unapproved product. That must count for something.
Yes, exactly. So when this incident happened, that was some few weeks back when there is gossip that there was some, something came up between a relationship between two very, top-rated couples in this country, and that is how, we got here, basically. So people are calling, for the, the entrenchment of some of these rules. For instance, there were some calls, in terms of the fact that some of these products are being promoted on social media, specifically body enhancement products and products that, assure, personalities that they're going to get, for instance, athletes are going to get some body enhancements or some addition to their body, physical features, which, the FDA has not, verified as well. So this is something that has been happening for the past few years. On social media, for instance, when you go on Snapchat, you'd find a lot of individuals using their influence or using their social media numbers to advertise some of these products, and people or experts have been calling for the regulation of this space. And so that is one issue that is currently, underway that people are sharing their sense on at the moment.
Well, endorsements becoming one of the ways celebrities are making money. Plus, the companies need the promotion so they can sell. So what's the way forward on this?
It is a very dicey situation right now, considering the fact that the social media space is not that much regulated. If it was mainstream media, you know that there are associations that every media house or every product is supposed to be affiliated to be able to get regulation under various regulators across the country. But when it comes to social media, that is a difficult thing to do. And so experts are calling for the Food and Drugs Authority, for instance, to expand its tentacles, to look at its laws, and then expand it to encapsulate some of these social media and technological advancements to be able to ensure that they are seeing all the loopholes when it comes to regulation as well. And also there is the issue of having social media influencers or creatives, musicians, all of those people, have them be very responsible in the usage of their platforms to propagate messages which may go a long way to hurt the health of the people while also jeopardizing their reputations as well. Because it's not just the people that is going to, not benefit, or it's not only the citizens that are going to fall sick to some of these products, but they have their reputations at stake as well as persons who have influence in the communities.
All right, Kenneth Awotridako there, culture journalist, the only one in Ghana. Hope to see you in the studio sometime soon. Kenneth, enjoy your weekend. All right, and that'll be it for our show. Yes, more news on our website, myjoyonline.com. I don't know if we can get you the stories there. myjoyonline.com/business. You can get the latest stories there. Yao is trying to work some magic, but you see those stories on your screens very soon. World Bank approving the $250 million to strengthen Ghana's financial sector. That story we brought to you. Also, Ghana AFDB signed $103 million grant facility. Plenty stories for you this weekend to get updated on myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week.